A shadow over India. Unveiling the struggles of women. India, a land of vibrant diversity, grapples with a dark undercurrent racism against women. This issue is not just a modern-day problem, but has deep historical roots that continue to affect the lives of countless women across the nation. This essay delves into the intricate ways racism affects women in India, permeating social, cultural, and economic spheres. From the workplace to the home, from education to healthcare, the impact is pervasive and often devastating. We will unearth the historical context and examine the impact on their daily lives. By looking back at the past, we can better understand the present struggles and the systemic nature of this discrimination. Through real-life examples and expert opinions, we will navigate this complex issue. Personal stories will shed light on the human aspect, while expert insights will provide a broader understanding of the systemic challenges. Finally, we will explore ongoing efforts and envision a future where equality reigns. Activism and community initiatives are paving the way for change. But there is still a long road ahead. Racism is not merely skin deep. It runs much deeper, impacting opportunities and shaping destinies. It affects access to education, job opportunities, and even basic human rights. For women in India, facing a double burden of gender and racial discrimination, the fight for equality takes on a new dimension. They are not only battling for their rights as women, but also against the racial prejudices that further marginalize them. This essay is a journey into their world, a quest to understand their struggles and amplify their voices. By sharing their stories, we hope to bring attention to their plight and inspire action. Let's embark on this exploration, seeking to understand and ultimately dismantle the structures of racism that cast a shadow over the lives of so many women in India. Together, we can work towards a future where every woman, regardless of her race, can live with dignity and equality. Echoes of the past historical roots of racism in India. To understand the present, we must delve into the past. India's history, marked by colonization and caste systems, has left deep scars on its social fabric. The British Raj, with its emphasis on racial hierarchy, exacerbated existing prejudices. Post-independence, remnants of these colonial ideologies lingered, manifesting in colorism and discrimination based on region or ethnicity. The caste system, with its rigid social stratification, further complicates the issue, often intersecting with and reinforcing racial biases. The social maze, navigating everyday interactions. In our daily lives, we often find ourselves in a complex web of social interactions. The insidious nature of racism reveals itself in everyday interactions, often in ways that are not immediately obvious but deeply impactful. Women from marginalized communities face microaggressions, subtle yet hurtful forms of prejudice on a daily basis. These microaggressions can be as simple as a dismissive glance or a condescending tone. From backhanded compliments about their complexion, which may seem harmless but carry underlying biases, to being stereotyped based on their ethnicity, where assumptions are made about their abilities or character. These encounters chip away at their self-worth. Over time, the cumulative effect of these interactions can be profoundly damaging. Social gatherings and public spaces often become arenas where biases play out. These environments, meant for connection and community, can instead become sources of stress and anxiety. Women from certain communities might find themselves excluded from social circles, not because of their actions, but because of preconceived notions held by others, or subjected to discriminatory treatment that undermines their confidence and sense of self. These experiences can lead to feelings of isolation, shame, and a sense of being perpetually on the outside looking in, and a diminished sense of belonging. It is crucial to recognize and address these subtle forms of discrimination to foster a more inclusive and supportive environment for everyone. Economic exclusion, the price of prejudice. Racism's impact extends far beyond the social realm, seeping into the economic sphere and limiting opportunities for women. Discrimination in hiring practices, unequal pay for equal work, and limited access to education and resources create a vicious cycle of economic disadvantage. Entrepreneurial endeavors are also often hampered by prejudice. Women from marginalized communities may face difficulty securing loans, attracting investors, or accessing networks and mentorship opportunities. This systemic exclusion perpetuates a cycle of poverty and limits their economic agency. Urban versus rural, a tale of two Indias. While racism is a pervasive issue across India, its manifestations differ between urban and rural areas. In urban centers, with their diverse populations and exposure to global influences, racism might manifest in more subtle forms, such as colorism in the media or discrimination in elite social circles. In rural areas, where traditional beliefs and social hierarchies hold sway, racism can be more overt and deeply entrenched. Women from marginalized communities may face exclusion from community resources, limited access to education and healthcare, and even threats of violence. Voices from the ground, real-life stories of resilience. To truly grasp the impact of racism, we must listen to the voices of those who experience it firsthand. Meet Maya, a young woman from a tribal community in Odisha, denied education and forced into early marriage due to her family's economic hardship and social stigma. Or consider Priya, a software engineer in Bangalore, constantly battling stereotypes and facing microaggressions in her workplace despite her qualifications. These stories, though individual, reflect a larger societal issue that demands attention. Expert perspectives. Deconstructing racism in India. Scholars and activists have long been at the forefront of dismantling racism in India. Dr. Anjali Montero, a sociologist specializing in media studies, highlights how popular culture often perpetuates harmful stereotypes, reinforcing colorism and prejudice against certain communities. Activist Ruth Manorama, known for her work with Dalit women, emphasizes the intersectionality of caste and race, arguing that Dalit women face a double burden of discrimination, making their struggle for equality even more complex. Seeds of change, initiatives, challenging the status quo. Amidst the challenges, glimmers of hope emerge from the numerous initiatives working tirelessly to combat racism in India. Organizations like the Center for Dalit Studies and the National Campaign on Dalit Human Rights are actively advocating for policy changes, raising awareness and empowering marginalized communities. Educational programs, workshops, and awareness campaigns are challenging stereotypes, promoting inclusivity, and fostering empathy. By equipping individuals with knowledge and understanding, these initiatives sow the seeds of change. A new dawn, embracing equality and inclusivity. As the sun rises, so does our hope for a brighter future. Imagine an India where every woman, regardless of her skin color, ethnicity, or cultural background, is treated with dignity and respect. Picture a community where kindness and understanding are the norms. Envision a society where opportunities abound for all, where every woman can pursue her dreams without barriers, and prejudice becomes a relic of the past. Imagine a world where our differences are celebrated, not condemned. This is the India we must strive to create, an India where unity and diversity go hand in hand. Building this future requires a collective effort. It demands that we all come together, regardless of our backgrounds. Each individual has a role to play in dismantling the structures of racism and inequality. By challenging our own biases, speaking out against injustice, and amplifying marginalized voices, we can make a difference. Together, we can contribute to creating a more just and equitable society, a society where every woman feels valued and empowered. A future free from prejudice, the path forward. The path towards a racism-free India is long and arduous, but not insurmountable. It requires sustained effort, unwavering commitment, and a fundamental shift in mindsets. Education, awareness, and empathy are crucial tools in this endeavor. Let us pledge to create a future where the tapestry of Indian womanhood is celebrated in all its diversity, where every woman is empowered to reach her full potential, and where the shadows of racism no longer darken her path.